So, growing up in New York, did you feel that the city itself had any influence on your ambitions and dreams or inspired you to start acting?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think that I didn't grow up thinking I was going to be an actor, but I think growing up in New York, places diverse as New York, is fast moving. You see a lot. There's a lot of things to take notice of, a lot of things to learn from, a lot of characters just roaming the world, and I think all of those things had a big influence on me feeling like I could take my experience and the things I've learned from it and these people that have been around at one time or another, even for a moment, and take some of those things that I soaked in, and make them a part of telling a story and maybe having a meaning that I could share with people behind that.
Early on, did you have any mentors or advisors that helped guide your direction?
Early on, I mean, my parents, to start with, I think that no matter what, if you've got good ones, I mean, those are always going to be your first and best teachers, and then if you're lucky, you have grandparents and aunts and uncles and whoever else is in your life to be able to help that way. So yeah, fortunately, I had a lot of great mentorship in terms of people that cared about me and wanted to make sure I was doing the right thing. In terms of how that led to acting in a way, acting really was something that I didn't really, like I said, I hadn't considered doing that for a living as a kid. I didn't really give that any thought until I was already about 19. I thought I was going to play baseball. That's what I wanted to do. And I realized about 19, like, this isn't going any further. What am I going to do next? What's going to give me that feeling that I get when I'm out there doing that? And I was taking an acting class at community college. I dabbled a little bit in high school. My father thought it was something that I should check out, and he kind of suggested it, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'll check it out. And it was, I mean, it was something I enjoyed, but I never really thought about doing it as a career. And then at 19, when I was in this community college, I was taking a class, and I just had a moment where I realized, like, oh shit, this is it. This is what I want to do. Like, I want to go after this. I want this feeling I was having, like, I was doing a scene and I just had that rush that I would get, that I felt playing sports or doing anything exciting that had my interest. And I was like, this felt right. And so at that moment, I knew that that's what I wanted to do with my life.
What allows you to take that
So,
leap of faith? Like, from going to, from knowing that you can have a secure job versus taking the risk and, you know, wanting to pursue acting?
I think part of it is you're just built that way to not see the obstacles. I think another part of that is youth and naivete and not really giving any thought to how great the odds are, how low the chances of you having that happen or being able to create that for yourself, what the odds of that are. And fortunately, I was never a person that gave those things too much thought. Because I always believed, I just believed if there's anything I want to do, I don't believe that there's anything that could stop me from doing it. And anything, anyone, like if I truly want to do something, it's going to happen. And I don't say that to be arrogant. That's just how I've always felt my whole life. Like I don't feel like anything is impossible. And so when I made that decision to want to do that, I didn't know how the hell it was going to happen. I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. I didn't have a clear path forward. I just knew, I love this thing that I'm putting my time into, and the pursuit of learning this craft and getting better and better at it, wanting to pursue greatness at it, and I don't know that I'll ever get there, but the idea of just putting my time into that and seeing where it took me was exciting, and it felt right. And so just always believed in myself. That's how I felt comfortable.
Right. So you're speaking about a mindset. Like, you had the mindset, you fully believed in yourself. You didn't really give yourself an option of failure, or you didn't give yourself the option to give up. What
Sure.
helped to form that mindset of, like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to completely go for it? And are there any practices that you've had over the years to keep cultivating that mindset?
I think initially the thing is finding something that you love, because whether you get there or not, the work you're going to put into doing that thing is always going to feel good. So, if you truly love something, what else are you going to invest your time in life? Something you don't love doing, and look, sometimes circumstances dictate that. And I've had to do that plenty of times in my life, be doing something I don't want to do. But if I'm going to make a choice about the direction I want to take my life in, I'm going to start out at least with something I really want to do. And so that mindset was really about the work itself, like choosing a line of work that was something I wanted to be doing, and so I think that's key. I think, if you're going to pursue something and not think about the possibility of failure or, what the end result is, like the end result is going to come from you dedicating your time and yourself to it and putting your heart into something. And I think that mindset was just developed as a part of my personality, I guess. I don't know, there was something in me that knew. My quote in my high school yearbook, how you get to pick a quote or whatever, well, basically I just never wanted to work a 9 to 5 to stay alive. That was my thing. I just knew that wasn't for me. I didn't like being in school. I didn't like the structure of that. I didn't like the system of that thing. I wanted more freedom. I knew I wanted more freedom. I didn't realize that was part of, that was even possible, really. And something about finding acting made me realize, like, oh no, you could continue to learn for the rest of your life and practice at this thing and, continue to work at it. There isn't quite a system. Of course there is. It's a business, and now I'm in the system and I'm working in a business, and there is part of it that is a system, but the craft itself was like just a playground that I didn't ever imagine I could get tired of. And I've been doing it now almost 30 years, and I'm not tired of it at all. Like, I actually feel more excited about it than ever.
Aside from your mindset, you've had a strong foundation, which has allowed you to be able to continue to see success. During your journey, was there ever any point in which you felt like everything was collapsing? And how did you, or what did you do, be able to revitalize yourself?
Carry on. I mean, yeah, like with anything, you're going to hit hard times. You're going to, things aren't going to happen as fast as you would like them to. You're not going to achieve the levels of success you want, at least oftentimes not as quickly as you would like to. And sometimes it's not even the best thing for you if you do. So in terms of when I hit some of the harder times, I just knew I was on, trusting myself and knowing that I was pursuing something that meant something to me was the thing that made me never have a doubt, even in the toughest of times, even in the times when I wasn't sure if this thing was going to work out for me, like if I was going to be able to make a life for myself doing this thing that I wanted to do. During those times, I mean, you just carry on. I mean, it was never really a moment for me where I would have considered stopping. And look, I've been very fortunate. I've had an incredible run, but I think that attitude has been a huge contributor to the success I've been able to have, which is, gratitude and appreciation for the fact that I'm getting to do what I enjoy doing every day. Whether I'm having the kind of success that I set out to or not, on different days I feel different ways about that. But the point is I still love getting up to pursue it every day, and I think that if you've chosen wisely from the start, this is an easy choice, man. This is an easy choice to just continue. Giving up is just not in the equation. Unfortunately, just never was. I don't know if playing team sports growing up helped me with that. I definitely give my parents credit for giving me a kind of loving foundation that gave me confidence to believe that I could do anything I wanted to do. And then whatever chip I had on my shoulder gave me some of that initial fuel to get started, feeling like, to drive me forward, to, help push me in those times when I needed a push. I don't think you can feed on that forever. I think some people do, but I think the people that feed on that chip that's on their shoulder initially, it's a fine line. I think you got to really learn how to manage that so you don't miss the enjoyment of the thing you're creating.
And so far, I guess, what's been the most rewarding part of your entire journey?
The most rewarding part of my entire journey, without question, is having my wife and my family. I mean, there's nothing greater than that. The career, which was the first thing I was in pursuit of. But honestly, I mean, for me, always my dream was to be a great father and a great husband. I don't know why, but that was always something in me that I knew I wanted more than anything. And whether it was going to be acting or finding a way in business or some other avenue that I would have pursued, like I knew that I wanted to be able to enjoy a certain kind of life with that family one day and have the kind of freedom to spend time with them in a way that that I didn't necessarily get growing up. And so I'm grateful. I mean, thank God, that like it was acting, because I love getting out of bed to go do this every day. So the fact that I get to love my job, and then I, have this family that I always wanted, that's without a doubt the greatest part of the journey. As far as the acting part of the journey goes, the greatest part is that I've just been able to work consistently, have great experiences with great people, be challenged along the way, and and just get to continue to pursue learning about the thing that I love doing.
No, most definitely. And I'm curious, I guess, a little bit about how you have figured out a way. I mean, you have so much going on, right? And I feel like a lot of people struggle with time management, and I think it's a big piece to get a better understanding of how you're currently managing your time. And when you are in those moments where you feel like you got a lot going on and you feel overwhelmed, like how do you kind of sit down and take it easy and kind of just you say, okay, these are my priorities and this is what I got to do.
Yeah, time management is key, man, and thank God that was something that always I wasn't always good at. I think as you mature and you start really understanding the value of time and how finite it is, you get better at that, hopefully. I think having a family put time in perspective in a way that I hadn't felt before, because like I said, for me that's my priority over everything. So my goal always is to, how fast can I get home? How much time can I put in at home? I gotta have my stuff together. I gotta have my shit together if that's where I want to get back to. So the key for me with time management is prioritization. So if I know my family's my priority, okay, then I need to have a plan every day about what needs to get done and how quickly I can get home and be with my family. And then look, when I'm home with my family, there's always something to do, whether it's, stuff for the house, it's stuff for work. I got to prep for work, learn lines, put together a tape for, a job I might want. There's always something. And, because there's always something, there's always an excuse you can make too. And I think that, the key to time management is prioritization and not making any excuses, for the things that are at the top of that list. You got to get them done, and then you can sit back and relax. And I'm still working on that every day. I'm doing my best, and I like the way it's going. I'm making improvements, but it's a constant battle, The time management, and I guess priorities play into that, but I think the key to enjoying your life, period, and time management is a big part of that, is balance, and it's, cliche and people will say it all the time, but figuring that part out is really what the time management is about. Like, you have to manage the time so that your life is balanced, because time management isn't about working, for every single minute of the day, every day. There are going to be days when you need to do that, but if you're not focused on balancing your time and managing your time in a way that allows you to be fulfilled in other ways, I mean, God bless, but that's not the life I'm looking to live.
And I would say, yeah, it's definitely something I'm still.
Yeah, no, and you're young and you should be. You know what I mean? This is your time in life to be grinding and all about, the pursuit of the things that you're passionate about, And this is also where you have to be careful that, you don't wrap your entire identity up in the one thing you're pursuing, that job. You know what I'm saying? Like that job is going to be a big part of your identity, but be careful not to make it everything, because you need to fulfill other parts of yourself too.
No, I guess I was a little bit curious about, there's a ton of aspiring actors, especially here in LA. And you talk about, going home and putting together things to, into a new job or something that you're interested in. I'm curious, I guess, when you put in that time and that work, obviously you put your heart into it, your soul, this is what you love, this is your passion. And you go out there and you give it all you got. And let's say you didn't get that role, you didn't get that, like, how do you deal with that? For somebody who maybe wasn't as in a position that you are, where, you're in these great shows and have had a great career so far. But for somebody who's starting out and they're applying and sending out their stuff to different roles and they're not getting any traction, like, what's one piece of advice that you can give them to help them continue push forward and continue to move on with their career?
It's really too wordy. I mean, you have to keep pushing. If it's what you want to look, there comes a time when you might want to question your pursuits, and you have to be realistic with yourself. Doesn't mean you have to abandon them, but you have to question how much of your time the result is worth for you, you know? And that may be forever. But the reality is, like, if you're pursuing a career in acting and you've been at it for, 10, 12 years and it's all you're pursuing, then you should open yourself up to some other channels that might also enrich your life in ways that help you as an actor, and maybe, you're not able to dedicate as much time to as before, but you just got to be real about your life and what kind of life you want. Like I said, for me, I knew having a family for me was always paramount. That was priority number one for me. So when I started acting, I gave myself 10 years, and I was 19. I gave myself like 11 because I was like, okay, by the time I'm 30, if I'm not making a living as an actor, then I need to open myself up to other pursuits that will give me the kind of life that I want. Because I'm not going to lie, I knew I wanted to live a certain type of life. I wanted to have a certain level of financial comfort. And so if it wasn't going to be from pursuing the thing that I love doing, it was going to be from something else. Because like I said, I knew what my priority was, which was family. And I knew I wanted to have that a certain way. I could have never seen myself stop acting if it meant I was doing like local theater and just doing that and enjoying that part of it. Then that's what I would have done. I think when you are starting out in the pursuit of something, things are going to be tough. Things are going to get hard. But like, if you want something, you don't stop until you get it. Don't give up on yourself. Giving up on yourself is a bad feeling, and it doesn't lead to the next victory. Pivoting could lead to an open lane, and maybe that's the thing, but you just got to channel that energy in a direction that's going to produce results, and you got to be realistic about how much time you want to give that before you decide if you're having the results you want. I mean, listen, one piece of advice I would give, it really comes back to the same thing. Love the thing you've decided to do, and love it until you're tired of not getting love back from it, and you'll know. When I moved to LA, I was like, all right, let me give LA a shot. I had no desire to really live in LA other than to pursue a career in acting. I thought I was always going to go back to New York, and it took me some years, and here I am now, all these years later. I love LA. LA started loving me back. I didn't want to go anywhere else, and so whatever you're going to choose to do, put your all into it, whatever that is, career, relationship, give it everything you've got. Give it 100%, and you will know when your time is done with that thing, whether it's a relationship or a career. If you've given it everything you've got, if you're half-assing it, it's going to take you a lot longer to figure out where the end of that road is, because you're always going to question yourself and go like, damn, did I give that everything I got? I could probably give that a little more. Let me try it again. I could probably do better than that. Let me keep going. And the next thing you know, you're spending years of your life half-assing it and still not getting the result you want.
And what was that like aha moment for you?
What was this? I came out to LA. I was very fortunate. I got an audition for a show, which is a longer side story. I didn't have an agent yet. Through my pops, a guy who was in the Army with, got me an audition for a TV show, and I got the TV show. I had to battle up against a bunch of other actors for it, and I got the job. Started my career, and it was the first piece of validation that I really got, okay, I can do this. Like, I know they're not giving me this job, because the friend gave me an audition, they're spending money, so I got this opportunity, and it was incredible, and it didn't take that long. I hadn't been in LA very long. I'd been acting in New York for a couple of years, came to LA, I was here, 4 months or something, and I got this job. I did the job for a year. The job was over, and then I didn't work for a year after that job. At least a year. It was maybe 2 almost. And in that time, I really realized this is a business, and I got to get serious in a way that I didn't have the time to process how serious it was before. Until I was went from here back down to here and realized damn, if I don't knuckle up, get myself together, get focused in a way that I wasn't before, and start taking this even more seriously than I thought I was taking it before. There's always a level, right? I thought I was taking it seriously, but I wasn't getting any work. So I'm maybe I'm not taking it seriously. I got to reevaluate. I think if I can offer anything, man, just be honest with yourself. Check in with yourself, talk to yourself, be in tune with yourself, because you're going to know when you're not giving it your all. You're going to know when you need to work harder. You're going to know when you need to pivot. And then, you know, when you don't, circumstance will make it clear for you. But you want to try and be ahead so that you don't have to wait for those moments. And I let one of those moments hit me. I woke up and I realized, like, shit, I need to find another gear. And I did, and things started happening after that.
Thank you very much for your time.
Man, come on, man. Good to meet you, man. Definitely. Yes, absolutely. You guys know what time it
I know
is?
you gotta go.
Yeah, you gotta go.
It's 2:04.
Go for it.
Yeah, you guys can pack up.
Yeah, I'll hit you this week.
Yeah, when are you out of here?